Get that. Okay, so today we're going to do your administrative portal training. The first caveat I always like to mention is the portal itself. I could spend 2 or 3 days, 8 to 5, going over all the aspects, tools, and how everything works in the system. So today is really meant to be a good summary of the major tools that you're going to be using. And then for everything else we have in the system, there are reference guides. You're going to have NITA as a resource as well. And we'll be there to support you. So again, today is to give you a high overview of how it works so that you can kind of get in there, start manipulating, playing around with it, and understanding it better. And then moving on from there, then we can do further training as needed. So let's go ahead and right along. So kind of here's the agenda for today. We'll kind of go over the admin. Most of this is going to be on the admin side of the portal, but we'll go over the dashboard, the basics to account creation. So we'll kind of talk very briefly about the package manager, company creation, consultant creation, candidate creation. Then as time allows, we'll go over the user side experience, content and message manager, and then the overall support. So we'll kind of talk about all these things at different parts, just kind of as we're moving along. I will say though, the biggest thing we're going to talk about is the basics to account creation, because that's the number one thing that you all really need today. Everything else, there's tons of content and reference material to go over, and we'll be able to review anything that you would like. So with all that being said, is there anything in particular that today we're now starting and you're like, I do not want this session to end without me understanding how to do this? Is there anything in particular?
I think we just want to get started, really.
Yeah. I think that's right. We just want to get started. I think your agenda's fine, particularly the account creation, and I think you're right. So we can actually start to explore it in a little bit more detail ourselves once we're a bit clearer about how the admin works, but nothing other than that, Matthew.
Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead. Give me 1 second. I will pause my screen so I can jump around here and not give you guys whiplash. And there we go. Can you all see your portal?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, here we go. Let's begin then. So when you log in, the first thing to notice is that when you log into your administrator account, you still have access to the user accounts. So you'll see when we go through the creation of accounts, when you create an account, it's both user and admin. They're not separate. So that's just by design so that you don't have to have two different logins. And especially when you all start to play around with the package manager, which is the look and feel of the system, it'll be very beneficial for you to have that back and forth so that you don't have to log in and out to see your changes. So that's why you'll see all these tabs up top. Users in the system will see dashboard, campaign, and resource, and then admin will have this. Should have mentioned too, while we're going through this, please stop me at any point in time if you have questions on anything. This is for you to answer your questions. So if I start to gloss over something and you want more info, let me know and I will pause and Nita and I will kind of give you more information on it.
So this is the administration account?
Correct. And right now there's just, I think we only have one. I'll show you how to create more though, obviously. But yes, we're on the admin side of the portal because if I click dashboard, here's now your dashboard, the user side of the portal. You can streamlessly go between both of those.
Looks nice.
You can, that's all Nita. Nita, we will pray. And it's also Nita's birthday. I just like to throw that out there. So.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you, Matthew.
I hope you get cake.
Thank you, Mark and Liz.
Well, no, I mean, I've been working with Nita. Well, I've been talking with Nita, and she's been working diligently with Colin to create the portal. And she's like, this portal's going to look amazing. So she has put a lot of time and effort to making it look very nice. So we're very happy with it.
That's a pretty dumb question. If I'm logging in as administrator, how am I logging in?
So when you log in as the admin, it'll be the same way as any of your participants through the login page. And it'll automatically take you to the admin side. So there's not a separate login page or anything. It's all in one place.
So just to confirm, that would be our career-compass P2P.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So you'll see here, this is a summary of the page. It's very basic. There's not much going on. So once you all start logging in, it'll show more, but it lets you know the number of logins and unique logins over the period of time. It always defaults to the previous 2 weeks. You can expand it up to 180 days. But really the point of this page is to give you a summary. If you're trying to get more advanced data, then you'll have a whole separate report training that we'll do. But this is just meant to give you a big idea. Here's the login graphic. Total new registrations. As people register, you'll see that here. If you use the events tool in the system, you'd be able to see who is signing up for events. I don't think you all are going to utilize that right now, but that could be here. The poll. So how easy was it to register? Difficult, easy. You'll see the results of the poll here. And then top resources and admin resources. So top resources on the left side is what your participants are going to be doing, the consultants and the candidates. There's nothing here right now because we've only created an administrative account. So that's why admin accounts don't, if I went up to the top and I went to the user side, it's not going to track my participation here because I'm still an admin. It's not counting that. So that's why on the admin side, you'll see there's been a lot of work done. The other thing,
top resource,
go for it.
What would be put in there?
So that's going to be, you would see any of these elements right here. When people click any of these elements, that's what would be tracked right there. So usually you're going to see things like D&B research and the assessments. Like those are the typical things you're going to see in the top resources.
Yeah.
And I always like to point out support, because it's a big thing. Support requests, don't worry about that right now. That's what you will do once you're live. So this is not what you need to worry about right now. Same thing with system announcements. Support FAQs, this is where you want to go to have access to all the different resources we have in the system. So you're already going to see a lot of info in here. But like later when we talk about the package manager, I'm not going to go too far in depth on it today. But if I type in package manager, right there's the reference manual. Some of these even have videos that kind of go through it. Like this is literally a package manager training. I think it was with one of our clients, or it might have just been, I made a dummy training session. Where you can do. So literally, I mean, we can do an entire package manager training, or you can just watch this and they're going to be good to go. And then here's the package manager guide. Yes, you have access to all the tools. We always advise to look here first, especially since we have such a big time difference. This is a great resource to look at first to help you out. And then if it's not there, then we can always support you when we're all together again. But a great reference right here. I actually forgot that video was there. That's handy. I'm give myself a pat on the back on that. That's a good video. Okay, so we've got the support FAQs, and the release notes. Obviously, when we send out release notes, we send them to all of our clients. But if you ever wanted to see like the history of release notes we've had in the system, you can come in here, and it'll take you to the release notes in the system. You don't really need to worry about that. But in case you're wondering what we've done, the other catch too is some of these things we've done even more than this, obviously, but these are global release notes. So sometimes if we have something that only affects our alumni clients, or ET clients, or mentoring clients, we don't put them in here because they're specific. So, perfect. Okay. So far, I know I haven't said anything amazing. Any questions? Just take a pulse check.
No, good, all good.
Seems pretty straightforward.
Perfect. So administration. So there's two things here, package manager and update profile. So look at update profile first, because that's pretty simple. So what you're going to see here, this is more information for us. We actually used this more before we had Salesforce, but now that we have Salesforce, we kind of track it in there. I'll show you though, some of these things do have different aspects in the system. The number one to know is that on the user side of the system, there are frequently asked questions. We call that the knowledge base. That means if someone asks a question as a user in the system, it's right now it's going to go to Liz. So that's where it's going to go. You can always change this. Sometimes our clients will have like a generic email that everybody checks, not just one person's. So that can be edited at any time. But that's if someone gets in the system and they have a question, that's where the question will go. That. And then the package manager. And like I said, we've got video in here. We can do more official training later. A little bit about the package manager. This is how we make it look the way it looks. So when you saw the dashboard and you saw the widgets and everything, that's because Nita and Colin went in there. They went into the package manager. They moved things around. They resized them, shaped them, edited them. The tool is meant to be very easy to use, but it does take a minute to learn it, to go in, to learn the ins and outs and the eccentricities of it. So that's why we always advise after this, you can watch the video in the system. We can set something up after. Usually what we like to do is for you to kind of play around with it, look at the guide, look at the video, and then we can do less of a training and more of a consultative hour of, what are you trying to accomplish? How can we help you out? And that's where Nita will come into play to say, I see what you're trying to do. Let's try it a different way. The other reason why we always stress right now, we don't do a lot of package manager training right now, is because we want to make your current package look perfect. We want it to have everything set up the exact way that it should be set up. Because what we've seen in the past is, well, some clients that will make 20 different packages, which you can make as many packages as you want. The one big go for it.
Sorry to interrupt. Just to confirm, so package manager, is this, can we basically go in there and create 6 different packages that would be available to our clients?
Yes.
Yes. Right. Okay, cool. That's what I understood.
So that's where you could come in, you could put, now the branding is still the branding. I mean, actually that can be controlled too, but that's a whole nother situation. But that's where you could come in and you could change these resources at the top. You could change the widgets that appear here. You could completely change the look and feel for every one of your clients, 100%. The one catch though is when you're doing this, let's say that you're doing a skin change. So you want to change your logo, you want to do something like that. There's not a group change with packages. So like I was saying, we've had some clients that make 20, 30, 40 packages, it's fine. But then they decide, oh, well, we're doing a brand change. Well, that means they're now going to have to go into 40 different packages and make a brand change. So that's why we always want to make sure that once this is done, you can clone this package. So actually what I'm even going to do right now is I'm going to click Create New Package. And it's going to say, what do you want to base this on? We're going to base it on this. And I'm going to say, for practice. So now, when you all are going in and exploring, don't touch this one. Don't touch this one, because that's the one that we've made perfect. You can go into the practice one, experiment with it, try with it a little bit, and then once you're confident, you can always go into the base package and make the changes. But we always advise to kind of try things out in a sample package first to make sure that you don't mess up anything that potentially it's going to be hard to go back to. But again, you can make as many, each one of you can make your own packages, create a new package, play around with it. But again, and I'll just kind of hop in there to give you a quick look of what it is. But the guide really goes into detail. So again, you can control the menu structure. And again, this is the user side. The admin side of the portal, that's if you need to make changes, you have to go through us because that's controlled by our engineering team. But for the user side, you can control the menu bar, the skin of the package. So you can have different skins in here. You can even see some other ones that we've done in the past. This is where we put those social media icons on the dashboard. This is where we track that. This is where if you wanted to put in your Google Analytics tracking ID, you put that in here. And I can click on tabs. This is where you can see these tabs at the top. You can control the order, the name of them. And then the widgets, you can see this is how the widgets are set up. So there's the connections in the middle, and the what's new over there, but I can even move these around as needed. And the thing I'll say with this too, this is, I don't want to say it's finicky, but you'll quickly learn that when you start to move some things around, some widgets just look better in a middle, some look better on the sides, just because of the size of the widgets and how much is inside of them. So it's just something that it takes a little bit of time playing around. Yeah, we've got all that. I don't know if you guys don't have introduction steps, so that's fine. But yep, this is the general of how the system is. This is what the package manager can do for you. That's about as far as the package manager I was planning on going into today. Any questions on that?
Nope.
No, that's all good.
Perfect. And this is where you will spend the majority of your time. Aside from creating accounts, these other things, you'll use them off and on, companies you'll use, but like messages and content, probably not going to be using a whole bunch. Opportunities, not a whole bunch, but the admin, reporting, and then these three, a lot.
So consultants is our internal people?
Right. So actually, we will go ahead. I'll kind of skip to that. Reporting, you're going to get a full reporting training. You're welcome to look at this, review all these as you'd like. There's guides in here to go over the tools. All that's in there. Content and messages, I always save for the end of the session because those are things that are great to discuss. But if we run out of time, these are the two things to run out of time on. So yes, we'll do these. And essentially, the way it's set up is it's kind of a 1, 2, 3. You'll create the companies in the system. You'll assign the consultants to the companies, and then the candidates. And can you all remind me, or Nita, you can remind me, you all are doing account creation, yes? Where they create their own account?
Yeah, for now, Matt, we are, but we are, so there's a few things that we're building in the background that will probably take another month or two. So for now, we're doing the account creation, but then we'll probably engage you again to get the account creation tool set up.
Right.
Once we have all of our website and everything finished. But there will be, because there's 2 different markets that we're targeting, some of them won't have companies set up. So in that instance, should we just set up ourselves?
Yes, for sure. And you'll see here in a second, it's extremely easy to do.
Yep.
And Nita, as I go along, if I mention anything out of turn or you want to add, please feel free to chime in. We love to hear from the birthday girl. So.
Well, you know, as Matthew is talking about packages, some things that are very common are like an executive package that would be very scaled down with minimal things in there, assessment only type packages. So you kind of get an idea of how you want to structure these packages.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So here we go. Let's do the 1, 2, 3. So we go to companies. So I'm going to go to company search. And right now, I don't even know what we have in here. So there's no companies. Perfect. So we'll set up a company. So I'm going to click add new company. Here we go. So you can put a logo for the company. This one, we're just going to put Insala, keep it simple. All this other information, it's just whatever information you want to store in the system. But the only thing that's required is a company name and the country. And actually here for the country. There we are. That's it. So I'll click submit. And now we have a company in the system. So again, now if I go back to company search, there's Insala. Again, all of this, there's information in the system that kind of goes over each one of these. All of this is for your reporting. Otherwise, most of this doesn't have any, for what you all are accomplishing right now, this is just kind of the diary of the company. Just notes, contacts, group, whatever you want to put in there. Very, very basic. But we create the company, and now we're going to create the consultant, or we're going to tie a consultant to the company. So I did that. Now I'm going to go to Manage Consultants. So right now, the account that we're in is Mark's. So you'll have access to the system already. But what we can do is we can create another account right now. So here, I'm just going to put in, let's see here. Actually, let me go back And I'm going to get Liz's information so that I can just easily make her account. There we go. So add new admin. Jones Liz. We usually make the username, the email account, and then I'm going to put this in the chat box so that you can change this password whenever you want. This is just to create the account.
Will we have an email with login details sent to us this morning?
Yeah, I mean, right now, once I hit save, you'll have this. Actually, I don't think the trigger emails are set up yet. Neither, they're not set up right now, right?
Well, Colin set up 2 templates for us to look at.
So I don't think you won't get an email triggered to you because those haven't been set up yet. But that will be.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You're talking about, the trigger emails have not been set up. No, just, the templates have been set up.
So Liz, but your username is right there, and that's your password.
What's the password? Sorry.
I put it in the chat box.
Oh, hang on. Can you just say it?
Oh yeah. It's
yeah.
I'm not trying to be secretive, promise. It's welcome ! 1, and on the welcome it's capital W.
And is that the same for Mark?
Actually, I don't. Did Colin create the account? Because I don't want to.
Yes, he did.
So ideally, what we're looking at doing is, and I don't know if this is the way the system works, is that we set up the person, punch in their email, then they get an email,
right?
Which is the email I think you're talking about, to set themselves up and change their password.
Right, and that's it. That just part hasn't been done yet. So that is exactly how it works. Once we put in the notifications, it'll be after account's created, it'll trigger an email, say welcome to the system or whatever text you want. Click here to reset your password, and it's done. Yep.
Sure. So when will that be done?
Nita, do you know when that will be done?
No, because we'll have to, after this training, I will reach out and we'll see what is it, the verbiage that you want coming from you all on that, because that's kind of unique to each company.
Have you all sent back the comms template that we talked about in our last session?
Yeah.
Okay. It's all done in the shared Google Doc.
Okay, perfect. So Nita, they've already submitted it. So
okay. Yeah. I will get with Colin on setting that up. Yeah, and then I'll let you all know when it's done, and then you can look at it and review it and see it that it's how you want it set up.
And Nita, at the very least, can you shoot Colin an email, even now, and just say at the very least get the account creation one set up, so then that way it's just done. I don't have to.
Perfect. Okay.
That's the most important one. Perfect. So Liz, right now we've got yours set up. I don't know what Mark's password is. That's whatever Colin set up. But I can even, right now you all can both use that account and then we can follow up. It should be the welcome one. It should be the same thing, but.
Am I able to change his password?
He is the only, usually we have an Insala account and then we create the admin account, but for some reason this time we didn't create an Insala account. So my fear is that if Mark changes his password, we will get locked out of the system. So yeah, I'm not, but I can definitely, I don't know. I'm trying to see here because we do an Insala admin one.
That's okay. I don't think we need to, because I think we are just going to create maybe one administration. So it's fine for now. We can just move on with the training.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, I mean, but you saw how easy it is to create a new admin. You just put in some basic information and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So we've showed you how to create a company, showed you how to create a consultant. Now the candidates. The majority of these things here are searches. So the one you'd want to focus on is add new candidate. And again, if you have account creation, this part kind of get notified, but you will always have access to create your own accounts. So I'll click add new account. And here we go. So here it is. There's a lot of fields on this page. The vast majority of them are not required. So at the top, anything with an asterisk is required. So the reason why you do the company and the consultant is because the first thing you have to assign to a candidate is a consultant. So in this case, I'll make it Liz. This is where you create a username. If they're creating their own accounts, it's kind of done that way. Usually username, again, is going to be email. You can also do a configure thing. So you could make it so that it would be people to people 0 or people to people. And then every time I click generate, it does that. Most of the time people they use the generate thing right here for like test accounts. Just a quick name of username. And I always make my password that. That's your password right there, in case you didn't see the chat.
Yep.
And then there are the 3 statuses, active, alumni, and inactive. The only way someone can ever access the system is if they are active. If they're alumni or inactive, they cannot access the system. Typically, how our clients will use those is alumni means at one point you were active, because now you're alumni to the system. Inactive usually means...
Does that automatically change after the package is finished, the expiry date?
They'll become alumni automatically.
Yeah.
Inactive would be like you're creating a bunch of accounts, but you don't want to give access to them yet, so you would make them inactive so that they're done, they're created, but nobody can access them yet.
Cool. And can you search, Matt? So, for example, if we have a company and they give us 15 employees that we need to work with, can you search all the employees under that company and then bulk change them?
Yes.
So say we're uploading as inactive and then bulk change them to active?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll actually show you that here in a few. So you've got registration, access package. So here, that's how you change the packages. This is also that if you all, sometimes what clients will do is they'll create an admin account and they'll always put the admin account in a different package so that when you start making changes, but this way, if you wanted to go back and forth to see the changes you've made, you could easily do it here. Registration date populated as soon as I made it active. This is where we can control the expiry date if you wanted to have that. And then we're not doing the programmer length right now. So there we go. And then I got to put in test, make test. The only other thing on here you have to do is a preferred email. You have to pick that. And this one will do my email.
What is the program button?
So that's for programs and deliverables. That would be if you were going to be doing different deliverables for different companies and things like that. That's an extra feature. We engineer it so that on the admin side it's there, but it can't be turned on unless it's purchased. And then that's it. So all the asterisk items I filled in. Everything else completely optional to fill in. Click save. And this is where once Colin creates the account, this is where I would now get an email saying, "Oh, Matthew, welcome to the system. Your account's been created. Click here to reset your password." It'd be that simple.
Yeah. And candidates have access to update that information also. So things like the placement info, and because that's really valuable information for us to find out if they're placed in the date.
Let's see what candidates have access to. Oh, dashboard. A lot of this is on the admin side. When it comes
Matthew, can I just
please
add something really quickly? Liz, that's a really good point, because this is where your reporting will come from. So the accuracy of the information you're collecting consistently then will be the accuracy in your reporting, because these are the fields that you'll have options to report from.
But Nita, if I do understand though, these are the fields that they can collect from though. So some of those things, I mean, obviously their work history and education, things like that, we can pull, but some of the items in there are even more in depth. And I'm to understand for those particular kinds of fields, those are on the admin side only. Is that correct?
Yeah, now I'm talking about this account information.
Right.
Information, yeah.
Yeah, see, if you keep scrolling there, Matt, scroll down, 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 down.
Sure.
All the way down the bottom, placement information, relocation information, probably not relocation, probably just placement information is something that would be pretty valuable. And correct me if I'm wrong, but alumni, if we wanted access to that package, it's extra, it's an additional add-on.
I'm sorry, I think I'm a little confused.
So if we wanted to communicate with the alumni, how would we do that?
What would end up happening there then? You can contact anyone you want in the system. We can create for you you could either just send them a message according to their accounts, because if they're in the system, doesn't matter what their status is, they'll show up to be available to be emailed. I know sometimes what we'll do is we'll create a contact list. So like you'll have a contact list for all active users. You can create a contact list for all alumni users. You can easily create those kinds of accounts.
Okay. What does the alumni package do then with Insala?
Are you referring to our alumni product or just the
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the alumni product, essentially, we have corporations do it. So when they leave, it's just the way that they can actively keep involved, and they provide a lot of content to the people that have left the organization. So it's kind of similar to this, except this is more specific in that they're tied to a consultant. In alumni, it's just like you're logging into a website. You land on a page, and all there really is content. There's no campaign, There's nothing like that. It's just all the content the organization offers.
It's an engagement tool.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm sure our sales team, if they heard me describe our product as that, they'd probably kill me. But there's more unique tools for the alumni product that I'm obviously not mentioning. But in a nutshell, yes, it's primarily for engagement to connect and networking. Okay. So we did that, and kind of, Liz, what you were saying is, what if I want to make a bulk change of something? So you can look at the users. Browse directory is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to show you all the candidates within the system. This is, again, where you could do a sort of active alumni, deleted, inactive. It's one way to do it. In all the reporting and a lot of things, you're going to see that admin don't show up. That's by nature, because usually when you're searching for someone, you're not searching for an admin, you're searching for a candidate. So a lot of times you'll see things like this, that if I click it, all the admin will be included as well. But you'll notice here that there's nothing on these columns that signify their admin. So they just look like regular users. Just got that. And then there's also candidate search, which is kind of a more involved one. This is the one you would use to make a bulk change. So I could just search by name, username, email, package. So especially if for a company you create an entire package for them, you could easily just put everybody in a particular package and be done. You can use tagging within the system, who they're assigned to, their company they're assigned to, tons of even industry interests. I mean, this goes all the way down. But I can do a search. And I'm actually going to include admin to show you what you were asking about. So let's say all these people, I'll go for it. So if all these people are in the same company and they were all inactive accounts, and now I want to make them active, I'd click edit selected. Oops, I didn't click any yet, so that doesn't help. Select all, edit selected candidates, and this is where I can say edit the package, the status, or the tags. And I can say status, and I want to change their status to one of those. And click submit. They're all active right now, so it doesn't make a difference, but it's that simple. So a lot of different ways to sort. Let's see here, candidates. Associate search, that's a tool I don't advise to really look at right now until you're more familiar with the system. If you see the top, it even says Star Reports. It's a reporting tool. You'll receive a training that goes over it. If you want to play around with it, though, it's available here. It's a great tool. The main reason people would use this particular tool is that it does run reports, but then it lets you either make bulk edits. You can contact them. There's a lot of extra bonus features, but this is usually the tool that our clients look at last because it's got a lot of power to it. But the guide, if you want more information, you can click the guide and I'll go all the way in depth in it.
Mhm.
And okay. So obviously I've got more time. I've got a lot more things to talk about, but we've now talked about support, admin, we talked about companies, consultants, and candidates. Any questions on any of those things so far?
Nope.
No.
Perfect. Nita, anything you want to mention before I continue on?
Not at this point. Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So I think we'll kind of go over these three here. We'll kind of jump through them a little bit. Message Manager. This is your primary messaging tool within the system. This is where you can send emails. The notifications is what we talked about before. This is where Colin will create one that after account's created, an email will get sent out. You create contact lists, templates, and view delivery reports. But on this page itself, you'll see this is a message that was sent out. You can see who it was sent to and its status. And I can run individual delivery reports for each message too. This will look a lot better once you actually have more people in the system. Some of these are the things I'm going to kind of gloss over. What's great with these is, again, there's a guide. We have individual videos for each one of these. It gives you kind of a high-level overview of how they work. Message, pretty simple. So sending an email. So we've got some sample templates in the system. You can use those, or when Colin puts more in there, those will be available. But here we go, Career Compass, sample template. When I pick that template, templates automatically have attributed to them the from name, subject, from email, reply email. If you remember the comms document we went over, that's why we wanted to gather that so that we could do the same for everything. But when this message goes out, you can always edit these to whatever you want as you're individually sending them out. The nice thing is too is that you can send it out when you'd like. It always defaults to immediately, but I can pick the date and time. So if it's Friday afternoon, I know if I send an email on a Friday afternoon, no one's going to.
Matthew?
Oh, sure, go for it.
Hello?
Are you there?
Yeah, we lost you for a second.
Yeah, it sounds as though your mic or something got knocked over.
Oh, okay. I haven't moved. Okay. I'll slow down a little bit. Sometimes the microphone, you talk too fast, it kind of.
No, that's better. That's fine. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, all I was saying was for the sending, you can send it out whenever you want, according to date and time. You can obviously edit these as much as you want. If you're familiar with HTML, you can go to the HTML side. I am not familiar with HTML, so I'm not going to touch any of this, but.
Don't look at me either.
But the nice thing, though, too, is I know in the past we've had clients that you can research how to do some HTML things, paste it in there, and then when you go to the design side, it'll show. So yeah, you could do everything on the design side, and whatever you do on this side changes on this side, and vice versa. You could send yourself sample emails. So I'm actually going to send Mark this email just so you can see it. And obviously in here we've got merge codes. We have reference materials that go over the merge codes so you know what they are. This is just the email itself. And then I can go to recipients. Can add in any recipient that I want. You can email people within the system or outside of the system. So I will do this one and this one. So the email that's in the system, it shows a system ID, it shows the name and last name. So if I can send it out to both of these accounts, but since this one's got a merge code in it, the one to this account is going to say Dear Test. The one to this one's going to say Dear, and it's going to be blank because it doesn't know what to put there. So just only thing to pay attention to is if you email people that are not in the system, make sure that you don't use merge codes because nothing's going to show. You can add them one by one. You can add a contact list that we create in the system, import a list, export a list, search for users, paste in bulk recipients, a lot of different ways to do it. And then once you've got it and you're good to go, all you do is go to the bottom and click send. There we go. Usually it'll show up in the next few minutes. Just depends, but it will show up here in the next few minutes. So I was sending an email. Notifications, when we set these up, we've seen with the vast majority of our ET clients, nobody ever touches them after they're set up because they're usually once they're set up, they're done. But what all Colin's going to do tomorrow is he's going to click create new notification. And again, this kind of looks like that template we were doing. He'll create the template, he'll pull in the template. And I'm going to call this test. This turns it on or off. This is for testing. And then here's that trigger. So he's going to make it 0 days after account creation. Right there. So 0 days means immediately. 0 days after account creation, send an email. And this is where he'll send it to all active users in the system. And then whatever email template you have. And that's it. You'll always be able to come in here later and make edits to it, not a problem. And you can even see here, there are multiple different ones. I've sent you some documentation on it, I'm sure you looked at it. But this is, in case you're wondering again, this is the list. So there's your notifications, contact list. I always get nervous to do this because sometimes if I mess it up, Colin's the pro at creating these, so I don't want to mess it up. But we're going to say active test. So you can put in a description of what it is, but I'm going to say add email population criteria. And then you can create a contact list according to last name, first name, email, company. So you could create individual company contact list. You can create contact lists according to each package. This is what I was mentioning. If you want to contact all your alumni in the system, you can do it for that. So in this case, you could say anyone with Insala that is an alumni. And there we go. And then obviously your standard candidates. You can't create tags to and assign them to participants. But for this one, I'm just going to do Insala alumni. There we go. And then when I do it, I clicked it twice. That was not smart of me. Usually you'd want to put in the name and description, but now when I click edit this, it's going to show me population criteria is a candidate in the company Insala and their alumni. So we'll create that. And the nice thing is they automatically update, so you don't have to automatically go in. Once Colin creates like the all active list, anyone that's active in the system that meets that criteria will be added to that list. Templates, that one's pretty self-explanatory. This is where we just go in and we'll create a template that's called after account creation. And that's where we'll put in all the text that says, congratulations, now that your account's been created, here's how you're going to reset your password. That'll just be a template we'll store in the system that can be used for notifications. My computer is not happy. Here we go. So you could create as many templates as you want. The template's not the trigger. So what Colin will do is he'll create all the templates and then he'll apply the templates to whatever triggers that you all want. And after, again, Colin's going to create them because he submitted them to us. You all will be able to go in and create any you want at any time. We just do that to get you set up and moving. And then last but not least, we've got delivery reports. And again, this is where there's that email I just sent out a few minutes ago. This one right here. And you can check each one. Open rates, bounce rates, spam rates, click rates, everything in the system. Who it was sent to. So obviously it was sent to me, but I'm not checking my email, so that's why it says just sent. And I can export that. So any questions on the message manager?
No, I'm okay.
Perfect. Moving along, content. So the content library is where you can store all of your basic content within the system. Some of these we won't really go in today, but content library right here, this is where any kind of content you need in the system will just load for you. And then if most of our ET clients, they do not actively add content to the system. There's a big bulk upload in the beginning, and then usually they don't add content again for a while. So if it's something that you're going to be doing very rarely, you'll just work with Nita, and Nita will upload the content for you. If it's something you're going to be doing on a regular basis, we can give you a full training on how to do it. We usually just don't do the training unless you're doing it actively, because it's an hour-long session, and if you don't do it on a regular basis, you tend to forget how it works. And sometimes it's just easier to say, please add this to the system, and we can get that done for you. Events, if you use events, this is where you can put events in the system. If you've got that widget turned on, then that's when the event widget, it'll show what's going on. So I can just quickly do add event. And obviously it's just like an Outlook invite, but there's a lot more functionality to it. I'm gonna say we got a happy hour, my place, you should come. And then whole session can go over this, but RSVPing, events, how long it's going to last. I'm going to say it's 1 hour. And a lot of reference material that goes over each one of these items. But what's really nice too is that if you do the events in the system, you can sort them according to packages. You can only invite particular people to them. Lots of different functionality here. Now, let me make the event not today. Let me get this out. Perfect. And there's the event. And then if we go to the dashboard, there we go. Very simple to do. Sometimes people will use the events tool not even as like signing up for the events, more just like a news feed almost, just to say, don't forget to do this on this date, or don't forget this is happening on this day. So instead of creating an actual news feed, which the content can take it's more involved of a process, creating an event is that simple, and it'll just pop up in everyone's feed. So very simple, an easy way to do that. So we got events. FAQs, this is what I was talking about. On the user side of the system, we have FAQs, so I'll click this just to show you that. There's nothing set up right now, but I'll create a question in a moment, and you'll see it. Oh, it did not like that since I just didn't any questions yet. But what I'll do here is I'm going to add a new question, and it's going to say, when does my program end? Please contact your consultant for more information on this. And that's it. So it's going to be global for everyone. You can't control this according to package or anything. This is for everybody. Let me try it now that I've created that and see that it's a problem. But this is also where right now it's set up to go to Liz's email. If someone submitted a question, it would go there. But otherwise, they'll be able to see these questions and answers in the system. A lot of time, our clients, this is one of the last things that they fill out, because once you've gone in there and explored it and looked at the dashboard and everything, you have a better idea of what kind of questions people are going to have, and that's what you'll put in the system. But you can create categories, subcategories, lots of different ways to utilize this tool to get it. Please update. It is still, so let's just look at this. Cool. Okay. FAQs. There it is. So there's my questions. So it's under your name, FAQs, and then if they have a question, it'll automatically populate with their info, whatever the question is, and that'll go to Liz. And then when you get an email that says, this person's got a question in the system, you'd go to Content FAQs, and then you could see here unanswered questions, and that's going to be where you can review that. FAQs, polls, this is where we created the poll within the system. Oh, you have a question? How easy to register to create a new poll? This is easy. And I can put A, B, C, V, add another one. Here we go. Can make it active, inactive. So just very simple, a quick way to get some information from people without having to send out an email. So something like this is a good one to do because then you can, it's easy to, if you send an email to everyone to say, please reply to this and let me know your experience, I'm not going to do it. But if it's in the system, they'll do it. Because all I have to do is click a button. Forums and groups, that's something that we won't really go over today, but this is where if you wanted to have your consultants or candidates talk to each other, you could use these tools. Most of our ET clients don't use this because most of the time the only person someone should be talking to is the consultant. But if you want more information on that, you can always explore the tool more. And then bookmarks admin. This is an older feature, but it still has great functionality to it. It's a great way that if you wanted just to get basic content out to people, you could. So we just call this resources. And I can add links. So I'm going to add a link here. We're going to say Google. And then when I go to the user side, go to bookmarks. They can pick different categories and there's just resources. So again, this is another way to kind of circumvent the content system because the content system is more involved. This is if you just want to provide some basic links to things. It's a quick way to do it.
Matthew?
Yes.
I just wanted to add that if a lot of clients will use this maybe to store, if they have like a lot of reference manuals, training manuals, files that you want to send your clients to.
Perfect. Yeah, and that way too, if a lot of this, some of our clients, I mean, they may have things on their own server and their own spots. So that way you don't have to come into the content library and change out a file. The link will always go to the same place and you can just change it on your side and then you never have to edit this tool. So a lot of different ways to use it. When I first saw this tool, I'm like, it's just a bookmark, right? That's kind of silly. But the more and more I've seen clients use it, I'm like, oh, it's just so practical to use because it's so simplistic. That's what people want. Just give me a list of what I'm supposed to click on and moving on.
And you can rename this something else. It can be, resource library or however it's meaningful to your business.
And one of the last things on the admin side is opportunities. And remind me, are you all going to be posting jobs yourselves or are you going to be relying on the feed for jobs?
I think we probably, initially we're probably relying on the feed, but I can see as we go further down that we would potentially be adding job postings ourselves.
Perfect.
Just have to think that through, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit.
Sorry, Matthew. I was going to say, look, initially we'll be relying on the feeds. There would be, I could see a reason why we would want to add our own add job opportunities, but I think we just need to think that through.
The feeds link up to Seek.
Yeah.
Is it just Seek?
Is it Seek or other aggregators?
Let's see here.
Now, this will come from Indeed. Our job feeds will come from Indeed, but you do have access to go to Seek on the dashboard side.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Let me go over there real quick. Well, the main reason I was asking, you'll always have access to create the jobs in the system. It was more for me today to see if I needed to go over how to use the tool. But right now, there's the job search, so there's Seek, and then opportunities. Let's see here.
And what jobs go? Is it related to their experience, or I mean, how does it work? How does it pull the information from the job board?
So job title, keyword, and country. So we put in a default search in the system to just show that.
Yep.
Yep. They can create their own job searches whenever they would like, and it pulls from Indeed.
Okay. I think we just have to, at the moment, and probably for the next few months, we need to leave it as the feed.
Perfect. Yep. Great. Well, whenever you're ready, the tool's in here. Again, opportunities, job postings, tons of great reference material that goes over how to use the tools. So very simple. I think the majority of our clients, usually clients rely on feeds. They don't typically post their own jobs unless they're specifically trying to get a job filled. Am I right on that?
Yeah, normally because this kind of updates dynamically.
Right. And actually, since we were talking about alumni earlier, this is where actually our alumni clients use this because they're trying to push their own company jobs ahead of everybody else's. So it's a great place for them. Okay. So looking at this side, I've covered the vast majority of the admin side. I was going to spend the rest of the time to just kind of reviewing any other. Actually, the one thing I do realize is I didn't really talk about the campaign steps. So before I kind of hop over to these other tabs, any other questions about anything we've talked about today?
No,
Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward, and I think once we get to play with it,
right?
I'll speak for myself. I'm the classic learner that learns by doing it. But this gives me a good overview, so I'm fine at this stage.
And usually, what I advise clients to do too is we've got this. So whenever you have time, I usually tell people play this recording in the background, and everything I've done today, just kind of do yourself. Create a company, create a consultant, create a candidate. Just make everything, and then at the end, we can always go in and delete all of it out so that it's not there anymore. So definitely encourage you to go through everything. Great. All right, some of the other things. We've got dashboard, campaign, and resource. Obviously, dashboard is the actual page itself. This is when we talk about the package manager. That's how all these feeds work. I know you all have kind of seen the user side of the portal before. Usually, we don't do too much discussion about the user side of the system because it's all very self-explanatory. But is there anything on the user side that you would like more information on or for me to review?
No, I think that's.
I've got one question. I think I know the answer. First, but just to confirm, so for example, we create a package, but the package we only want to use one of the assessments available. We can do that, can't we?
Right. So what in this kind of what I was talking about, like an executive package, maybe you only want to have values. I'm just making it up. Yes, you could create a package and eliminate all these other items, and all that would be under assessments is that. Because I think, Anita, correct me if I'm wrong, usually like the menu items are always the same, but depending on the package, people will go in and kind of edit some of the things out because they're not needed for everything.
Right. So it like most of the time, executive packages I've seen, they try to make it very, very simple, very, very direct with minimal information where they want the executive to target the work.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you could get rid of assessments. The organizer, you know, those are some great features to use, but not everyone's going to find use in them. The job search, yep. All of this, literally anything you see on this page can be edited. Turn on, turn off, whatever you want per package. Resource, all the resource tab is it is a list of everything on the dashboard page. So once upon a time, when Insala first started, before we had our beautiful dashboard page, this was the option. I mean, 2000 was a great year, but it was 20 years ago. So the whole point of this is that people don't want to kind of hunt and peck on the dashboard. They can come to this and just everything's on one page. So there's no loss. You can't make any edits to this page because the edits are controlled by the dashboard. So whatever's on the dashboard is on this page. If you get rid of it from the dashboard, it gets rid of it on this page. Some clients like to have it, some clients don't. If you don't want it, we can just turn it off.
Well, and also the names, like instead of dashboard, if you'd rather that say home, if you refer it's more congruent to your website to say home. Resources, sometimes people refer on their website site map. You know, we could change that to where the wording is different.
Yeah. Okay. Look, I have no issue with either dashboard or
perfect
resources. It's fine.
All right. The only
in fact, when I was using this, I found that resources quite useful actually.
Perfect. I mean, yeah, it serves its purpose in what it's trying to accomplish. Just we've had clients before like, oh, I want to add this. It is a summary of the dashboard. And the last thing to go over, which is still very important, is the campaign. So click campaign. This is where we can add the different steps. This is the user side experience. And actually, I didn't mention it when we were in the package manager. That's where you control the campaign steps. But this is obviously it on the user side.
Yeah.
Click each
Matthew, I think we changed the steps. So has this been configured to our change?
Nita, have we made those changes yet?
The
campaign steps.
I don't, you know what? Colin was setting this up. This is different than what you have identified.
I believe so, Nita. Yeah, because I think I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that I had track activity as 6 and interviewing earlier. I haven't got my notes in front of me, but I'll double check and I can drop you an email if you want this.
No. You know what, Mark? Don't worry about it. I look at it first thing in the morning for us here.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, I mean, I remember when I was on the call with them, we were making some changes. Sometimes since they weren't drastic, Colin may not have noticed the change and kind of just defaulted to our typical standard. So if you just can review that starter pack and make sure that they're in the order that they wanted. Yep.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did that. That's not the correct order, but that's okay. I mean, it's okay. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, you know what? This will be a 5-minute change for us tomorrow morning, and I'll do that, and I'll confirm back with you.
Perfect. And actually, to show it, what Nita will end up doing is Admin Package Manager. And this is where we go to the package. And again, I can't believe I completely just glossed over it.
You know, so this may be in like an executive package. You may only have 3 steps that you want to include. So this is where you would go, where you would make changes.
Exactly. So the tabs, again, there's the menu bar, the settings with the skin. With the tabs, I focused on this part. But the one thing I didn't mention is if you click the campaign tab, here's where the steps are. So this is where all they will have to do is they'll click move up, move down, or they'll actually edit the actual step. And that's why all they'll have to literally do is just move the icons, move them around. But you'll see here too, there's a description, which was on the left side. We could choose the icon. So these are the set icons. We've got quite a few in the system, but you can't add your own. But we have, I know when I started here about 4 years ago, all we had were these ones to the number 1. And since I've been here, we have actively been adding. Actually, some of these look really nice, Nita. I like these. We've made some improvements.
Yeah, but oftentimes if you wanted a lighter look, you would use the ones with the gray background, and you can actually go on and change them out yourself and see what you like.
Right. We've got that. Let's see here. So you can change the icon. Under each step, this is where you can add additional things, jobs and tracking, calendar, and files. Most of our clients, they keep the steps unless they're specifically creating their own steps. Sometimes you can look over here and you can add whatever you want from the content in the system. And then tools list, that's not used. But you can even add an external link if you just wanted to add that. But for each one of these steps, you'll see it's very easy to manipulate. You've got 6 steps, but you decided I'm going to add another step, step 7. The best step. Yes. And I'm going to make this super obvious that it's not right. We're going to call this number 15. And, oh, sorry. We're dusting. There we go. Step 6. Oh, not step 6. There it is. Step 7.
Then you can create further steps.
Right. And one thing to know is you notice when I created this step, these 2 options weren't there. After you create the step, you have to go into it to edit it. So I think that's just a precautionary message. But once you've created it, you have to come back in, and that's when you can add anything you want to it. So here I'm just going to add an introduction to financial planning. You right-click these. You say add to resource list. Make sure it was there and saved. Perfect. And now I'm going to publish my change.
So oftentimes a very common mistake is people will save, but they will not publish. And when they go to look at it, it will not appear.
Right. And definitely that's one of the intricacies of the package manager, how fun they are. But yeah, you always want to save and then publish. Because if you just save it, that just means that the work you've done has been saved. But publishing is that final step to make sure it is done. Now when I go to campaign, there it is. There's my new step. And there we go. Very simple to do.
So, presumably, just a quick, another question. Say, for example, we've got a client that we want to set up a specific package for 40 people that might have less steps or extra steps. Can we do that, or does everybody who's an active user see all those steps? In other words, can we sort of show or not show the various steps depending on if we've customized a solution to a particular client?
So the steps are only controlled by the package. So if you whoever
okay,
that package,
that's my question.
Yeah.
So if I'm on package 1, only has assessment, resume, and interview, they're the only steps I'll see.
I think you broke out there for a second.
Say for example, I'm on example package 1, and
right.
Package 1 includes assessment, resume, and interviewing. They're the only steps I'll see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And that's very common. It's a common thing that clients do. Mm-hmm. All right.
Great.
That's about what I had. So let me go ahead and you now have access to the system, so you're good to go there. And kind of want to show you a few other things. We put in the folder now. You still have all the things that you've had before. The one thing we didn't go over really today was interview stream. And really, I put in here our interview stream user guide. Really, we can help. We can answer any questions that you have on interview stream. But it's interview stream is the tool. You just have access to it within our system. So we've got this guide that we've worked with them to create. So you have that basic information. If you have any direct questions about interview stream, you do have to contact their support team. Got those in there for you. The only other thing that I did put in here is a UAT guide. So essentially, when you're going through the system, the UAT guide is just kind of a good way to track issues in the system. So this would be if you got an error or something is spelled incorrectly, or like Nita said, one of the tabs you wanted to change it from dashboard to homepage. This is where we would usually do it. The unique thing with our ET clients is that you all are trained right from the get-go how to make all the changes yourself. So we will, of course, support you with this. And if you want to put them all on this, we will work with you to do it. But usually what I kind of advise our ET clients to do is when you want to make a change to something, the best way to learn how to do it is to make the change. So what I'd maybe recommend doing is using this as a list. Then once you've made the list, try going in and make the changes yourself. You are going to notice that there are certain things in the system that you can't do. I'm trying to think in particularly if there's anything specific, because even with the dashboard, with the widgets, you can change those names in the package manager. Pretty much any of this you can do yourself. But this is a great way to track it. And in that way, when you meet later with Matt or Nita, you guys can kind of go down the list. It's very simple. All you would do is you'd put that, you put the URL of the page that's having the issue, just copy and paste it out of the bar. You could say error. This is reported by Mark on today. Just menu item location where it's located. You could say it was under content library. Screenshot, I'll show you that in a moment. And then priority and notes. Priority errors are a high priority. Obviously, this is more of subjective in nature. But if anything in the system is a high priority, but an error obviously is going to come to the top of the list. If something is misspelled, that's going to go towards the bottom of the list. And this way you can say, when I click the link, I get an error. And then for the screenshot, I can call it 1. And when I go to the screenshot tab, I can say screenshot 1, and then I can paste it in. And with Google Sheets, you can't just paste in items because they like to be difficult. So you go to insert image. Mm-hmm. And then that's how you get that in there. So, I mean, you still drag and drop it in, not a problem. But really, again, the UAT, this is a good place. While you're going through and you're learning, if you're not sure how to do something, please put it in the list because then we can address it with you and we can get it done and it's all in one spot. But most of the things in the system at this point, you all are going to have the ability to change. But when it comes to the package manager and everything, it's a good time to start exploring that, but don't feel any pressure. Like, I don't know how to do this and I need to make this change now. Just contact Nita or Matt or put it on this list and we'll quickly get it done for you.
Okay.
That's what I had. Nita, do you have anything you would like to add?
I just wanted to say, as you're going through the system and looking, see if there are things that the system doesn't have, mainly content that you want to add. So something that's very common is under resume, clients will want to put their own resume templates. So there may be a menu line that says templates, and then you have 15 to 20 samples that are unique to you all. So we would go ahead and set up a link and load those. Resources, books, flyers, anything that content that you would like your users to have access to.
The resume templates one would be great.
Sure, you know what? If you have resumes right now that you would like, just send those over to me and we can go ahead and get those loaded. And what you'd like to call that link?
Yeah, sure.
You know, if you want InterStream to be located under networking or somewhere else, we can move that to another location.
Or resources.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people put it under resources.
I don't know how I've seen some people put under like dashboard campaign resources. Since the users do not see admin, they will put the seek up there on top too as a menu item because it's very significant.
Perfect. Yeah, that's the main goal from this, like I was mentioning at the very beginning, is that we want to make this package, your base package, we want to make it look perfect, beautiful. Everything is called what you want it to be called. Everything's in the right location. And in that way, moving forward, when you want to make, you want to customize for companies, all you have to do is copy and paste this package and then quickly make edits. So just get it all done in one. But yeah, that's okay. So I think, Nina, I know you've been taking notes. I think the number one thing we want to make sure we get to them ASAP is Mark's username password. We want to make sure what it is and make sure we have an Insala admin account so that we have our own. And then we need Colin to create the account creation email because they're going to start doing that now, even for test accounts. It's just good to have that done so that nobody has to worry about it.
So wait, Mark's user ID and password?
Okay. Right. So you're going to have to ask Colin because usually when we set up accounts,
sure, yeah.
There's an Insala admin, but it looks like we just created Mark's, but we should give him his account now and we can have our own. So, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Perfect.
I will do that first thing, and then also I'll go ahead and get the campaign step set up the way you requested.
Perfect. Okay, we have 7 minutes left, but any other, I know there's a lot of information. Thank you for sticking with me. Any other questions before we wrap up?
No, that's great. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you, Nita.
Perfect.
You're welcome.
Okay, so yeah, you have access to the system. Get in there and explore. The next time that you're going to be working with me is really going to be for more advanced training. So if you all do need more information on the content library or more information on the package manager, or if there's just a tool within the system you really need more support with, you can contact me. The only other scheduled training we definitely will have on the books will be report training. And that's where I'll show you how to build reports and how to kind of go through these. But otherwise, you guys have access, you're good to go.
Perfect, excellent. So just to confirm, what's pending for us is, and you guys, is the comms email. So that will be set up today or tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes.
Yep. Okay. And what was the second thing? The templates, the resume templates.
Right.
You'll send those to me, and then once I get them, I can load them in the system for you.
Yeah, okay, sure. I just want to have a look at what template is in there first, in the resume manager, and then we can go from there.
Well, Nita, are there any templates in here right now?
There aren't any resume templates. Our resume creation tool is the resume manager. Users can go in there and they can create their own templates. And sometimes the format is exactly what you're wanting. Like if you can go, right here where you can change the resume styles, different things, but you're limited to what our resume tool has. And some people already have a library of samples that they also want to share.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Well, okay then. Well,
that's it.
That's what I had. Again, thank you for meeting with us today. We appreciate it. We covered a lot of material. If you all have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to help out. But otherwise, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we will talk soon.
Okay then, thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.